Welcome to the absolute nightmare of the holiday rush, where common sense goes to die. We are exposing 61 real customers who walked into restaurants and chose violence over logic. From a woman claiming chickens are invertebrates to a man furious that ice is frozen, the entitlement here is genuinely dangerous. These people do not need a refund, they need a biology textbook. Hit subscribe to witness the meltdown, and let's get into the madness. 1. This soup has pork in it because chickens do not have ribs. A furious woman screamed this accusation across a crowded lunch spot. She fished a small bone out of her bowl. She waved it at the terrified server. The server tried to explain basic biology. He told her chickens indeed have skeletons. The woman laughed in his face. She told the whole room that birds are made of cartilage and feathers only. She insisted this was a pig rib in disguise. She demanded the manager apologize for serving land animals in a bird soup. The manager just stared at her. He realized she had gone her whole life thinking chickens were boneless jellyfish. 2. I am paying for liquid water, not these frozen rocks. An angry man shouted this at a poor waitress on Christmas Eve. He slammed his glass down. Water splashed onto his holiday sweater. He pointed accusingly at the ice cubes floating at the top. The waitress tried to explain that the water was free. The man turned purple. He argued that the ice took up valuable space in the cup. He claimed it was a corporate scam to hoard the tap water. He started scooping the ice out with a spoon. He piled the melting cubes onto the tablecloth. He demanded a refill of warm water immediately. The surrounding families watched in horror. They witnessed a grown man fighting a losing battle against physics. 3. The lights are blinding me and ruining my digestion. A miserable woman yelled this while wearing sunglasses indoors. She pointed a trembling finger at the Christmas tree. She claimed the twinkle lights were emitting dangerous radiation. She told the manager the festive joy was making her physically nauseous. She demanded they dim the entire dining room immediately. The room was packed with happy families. She stood up and tried to unplug the tree herself. A toddler started crying nearby. The woman hissed at the child. She said the happiness in the air was toxic. The manager escorted her out. She screamed that Santa was an energy vampire. 4. This steak is way too meaty and tastes like a cow. A confused young man pushed his plate away in absolute disgust. He called the chef to the table. He poked the ribeye with a fork like it was alien. He complained that he expected a vegetable texture. He said for the price, it should be less beefy. The chef looked at him blankly. The chef explained it was literally a cow muscle. The man gagged audibly. He said he thought steak was a shape, not an animal. He demanded a tofu refund. His date hid her face in shame. She realized she was dating a carnivore who hated meat. 5. There is way too much cheese in this mac and cheese. A mother screamed this at a busy buffet line. She held up a spoon dripping with cheddar. She accused the kitchen of sabotage. She claimed her son needed pasta with a hint of yellow. She did not want actual dairy product. She told the line cook to wash the noodles off in the sink. The cook stopped serving. He stared at the pot of melted gold. The woman threatened to sue for calcium overdose. The line behind her grew long. People booed her loudly. She threw the spoon into the tray. She yelled that they ruined the concept of noodles. 6. This barbecue is disgusting because it is actually juicy. An older man slammed his fist on the counter. He held up a slice of tender brisket. It was falling apart. Perfectly. He was furious. He shouted that real meat should be dry like jerky. He claimed the moisture was a sign of rotting. He demanded they put it in the microwave to dry it out. The pitmaster almost cried. He had smoked that meat for 12 hours. The man insisted on chewing for 10 minutes per bite. He called the police. He reported a crime against texture. The police did not come. The man ate the napkins instead. 7. Why are there children in this family restaurant on Christmas Eve? A woman in a massive fur coat stood up and silenced the room. She looked around at the happy families with pure hate. She was disgusted. She told the server that kids should be banned during holidays. She claimed their laughter was noise pollution. She demanded a soundproof booth immediately. A baby cooed nearby. The woman hissed at the infant. She asked the parents to put a muzzle on it. The manager stepped in. He told her it was Santa night. She gasped. She realized she was the villain in a Holiday movie. She left without tipping. 8. My fries are ice cold, and this is unacceptable service. A teenage girl snapped her fingers at the waiter. The waiter looked at the full plate. He noticed she had been talking for 40 minutes. He saw the fries had not been touched. He explained that heat escapes over time. The girl rolled her eyes. She said the restaurant should have heated plates that last forever. She claimed it was his job to remind her to eat. She demanded a fresh batch for free. Her friends laughed. They told her she was delusional. She threw a cold fry at the waiter. She said physics was not an excuse. 9. This is just a bread circle. Where is my pizza? A drunk college student yelled at the delivery guy. He opened the box to reveal plain dough. The receipt clearly showed he ordered none for every topping. He had clicked remove sauce and remove cheese on the app. He screamed that pizza implies toppings. He claimed the app tricked him. He threw the frisbee of bread across the room. It hit the wall with a thud. He demanded the driver go back and buy sauce. The driver showed him the phone. The student insisted the technology was biased against hungry people. He ate the dry bread anyway. 10. I cannot understand the menu because the staff speaks Spanish. A grumpy lady crossed her arms. She glared at the hard-working kitchen crew. They were cooking perfectly. She told the manager that hearing a foreign language ruined her appetite. She claimed she expected English subtitles in real life. The manager stared at her. He explained they were discussing the recipe. The woman covered her ears. She said the accents were too spicy for her hearing. She demanded they speak in silent signals only. The whole restaurant went quiet. Everyone judged her. She asked for a taco but pronounced it wrong on purpose. She left when no one applauded her. 11. This soup is entirely too wet and needs to be solid. A confused man waved his spoon in the air, aggressively. He stared into his bowl of minestrone with deep disappointment. He called the waitress over to the booth. He complained that the ratio of broth to chewing was wrong. He insisted that soup should be chewable like lasagna. He claimed the liquid was making his mouth feel damp. He demanded they drain the bowl immediately. The waitress tried to explain what soup is. The man refused to listen. He said drinking dinner was for babies. He asked for a strainer. He poured the soup onto the table. He ate the wet vegetables off the cloth. 12. Why are there so many humans here on a national holiday? A furious woman stood at the crowded host stand on Thanksgiving. She looked at the 2-hour wait list with disgust. She screamed at the poor teenager holding the pager. She claimed they should have built an extension just for today. She demanded they kick out a family who was already eating. She said her hunger was more important than their reservation. The host explained that Thanksgiving is popular. The woman gasped. She said she was the only one who celebrated it. She threatened to eat the plastic display food. She stood in the doorway blocking everyone. 13. I want this steak burnt to a crisp but also bloody inside. A baffled businessman yelled this order at a fancy steakhouse. He sent his well-done steak back to the kitchen 3 times. He slammed the plate down. He complained that the gray meat was too gray. He demanded the chef break the laws of physics. He wanted charcoal on the outside and cold red jelly on the inside. The chef came out wiping sweat from his brow. The man drew a diagram on a napkin. He explained magic meat theory. The chef just stared. He realized the man wanted a meat popsicle. The man left hungry and confused. 14. Who put this yellow goo on my pile of chips? A teenager stared at a plate of nachos in absolute horror. She shrieked so loud the music stopped. She pointed a manicured finger at the melted cheddar. She told the server she expected separate piles of ingredients. She claimed melted cheese was a texture violation. She demanded they wash the chips individually. The server explained that nachos mean melted cheese. The girl gagged. She said she wanted a deconstructed corn salad. She called her mother to complain. Her mother hung up on her. She tried to scrape the cheese off. She ruined the entire appetizer. 15. This meat is melting in my mouth and it is disgusting. A muscular man flexed his biceps in anger at the table. He poked the expensive filet mignon with a knife. He shouted that he paid for a jaw workout. He complained that the steak was too soft and buttery. He wanted something that fought back when he chewed. He demanded the chef swap it for old leather boot leather. The waiter was stunned. He explained this was the highest quality cut. The man flipped the table. He said he was not a baby bird. He wanted to struggle for his protein. He left to eat beef jerky in the car. 16. Stop trying to make me eat pumpkin spice and cranberries. An angry grandfather threw the holiday menu on the floor. He glared at the festive decorations with pure hatred. He told the waitress he did not care about joy. He wanted his regular burger without Christmas cheer. He complained that the seasonal font was slowing down his reading. He demanded they print a boring menu just for him. The waitress pointed out the burger was still there. The man covered his eyes. He said the peppermint pictures were distracting him. He shouted at a reindeer statue. He ordered water and bread. He ate in silence like a prisoner. 17. I saw the closed sign, but I decided it was a suggestion. A woman banged on the locked glass doors of the bistro. The staff inside was wearing party hats and celebrating. She screamed through the glass. She demanded they unlock the door and cook for her. She claimed her hunger overruled their holiday party. She pointed at the chef eating cake. She yelled that he was legally required to feed her. The manager came to the door. He pointed at the posted hours. The woman licked the glass. She said she would not leave until she got pasta. The police arrived. She asked them for a menu. 18. You put this fly in my drink to destroy my evening. A hipster sitting on the patio pointed at his water glass. He had been sitting outside for 2 hours. He screamed at the busboy. He accused the restaurant of training insects. He claimed the fly was a paid actor. He demanded a full refund for the meal he already ate. The busboy explained that nature exists outdoors. The hipster refused to accept this. He said the patio should be a bug-free dome. He fished the fly out. He tried to give it CPR. He wrote a review saying the air was unprofessional. 19. This bread is too soft and it insults my teeth. An old lady squeezed a fresh bagel until it was flat. She glared at the baker behind the counter. She complained that fresh bread was for weak people. She insisted a bagel should be a rock. She wanted to risk a dental emergency with every bite. She demanded they leave it on the roof for a week. The baker offered to toast it. The lady hissed. She said heat was cheating. She wanted natural staleness. She threw the soft bagel at the wall. It bounced back. She left to find a rock in the parking lot. 20. There is a hair in my pasta, and it is disgusting. A young woman with bright blue dyed hair screamed this loudly. She pulled a long blue strand out of the Alfredo sauce. Everyone looked at her head. Everyone looked at the hair. They were the exact same neon shade. The waiter pointed this out gently. The woman denied everything. She claimed the chef must also have blue hair. The chef walked out bald. The woman did not blink. She said the hair flew in from the street. She demanded a free meal for the trauma. She tucked her blue hair behind her ear. She kept eating the free pasta. 21. You poisoned my family with your delicious prime rib. A frantic father stormed into the restaurant holding a plastic bag. He slammed the bag of gray meat on the counter. He shouted that everyone threw up all night. The manager asked when they ate it. The man said they took leftovers home 2 days ago. He admitted he left the box on the kitchen counter for 40 hours. He claimed the meat should have self-preserved. He accused the chef of not using enough preservatives. He demanded a refund for his own lack of refrigeration. The manager explained bacteria growth. The man covered his ears. He said science was a lie to sell fridges. 22. This omelet is a liar and false advertising. A woman held up her phone next to her breakfast plate. She screamed at the server. She pointed at the glossy menu photo. She claimed her eggs were not as yellow as the picture. She counted the visible peppers on the screen. She shouted that her plate was missing 3 tiny red specks. She demanded the chef come out and paint the food. The server tried to explain food styling. The woman refused to listen. She said she ate with her eyes first. She accused the restaurant of catfishing her stomach. She took a selfie with the eggs and cried. 23. I came here for a winter wonderland, not yellow sand. A tourist at a beachside resort yelled at the landscaper. She pointed furiously at the natural beach. She complained that the sand ruined her Christmas aesthetic. She expected the hotel to bleach the entire coastline white. She shouted that yellow sand looked like dirt. She demanded they import snow immediately. The landscaper leaned on his rake. He explained they were in the tropics. The woman stomped her feet in the sand. She said global warming was an excuse for laziness. She asked to speak to the ocean manager. She wrote a review blaming the sun. 24. Your waiter is a robot and it is creeping me out. A suspicious man whispered loudly to the manager. He pointed at a smiling server across the room. He complained that the boy knew the specials too well. He said reciting the soup of the day without stuttering was unnatural. He claimed the server was a government cyborg. He demanded a human waiter who made mistakes. The manager laughed nervously. He said the server was just good at his job. The man narrowed his eyes. He threw a spoon on the floor to test the server's reflexes. He ran out screaming when the server caught it. 25. I need to see the blender, or the drink is fake. A high-maintenance lady slammed her margarita on the table. She glared at the bartender across the room. She shouted that if she did not see the ice crush, it did not happen. She accused them of using pre-made mix from a bucket. She demanded the bartender carry a heavy machine to her table. She wanted to hear the noise right next to her ear. The waiter explained there were no outlets. The woman pulled an extension cord from her purse. She said she came prepared for fraud. She forced them to blend water, just to watch. 26. It is too tropical in here and I am sweating. A man in a thick wool sweater complained at a Hawaiian-themed restaurant. He wiped his forehead dramatically. He pointed at the decorative palm trees. He shouted that the fake plants were generating heat. He demanded they turn the air conditioning to freezing. He claimed the bamboo on the walls was mocking winter. The manager explained the theme was island vibes. The man refused to take off his coat. He said he dressed for the season, not the decor. He poured ice water down his neck. He sat shivering and angry. He blamed the plastic parrot. 27. Why are there so many accents in this American restaurant? An old woman looked around the dining room with suspicion. She covered her mouth while chewing. She whispered to the host that she heard foreign languages. She complained that diverse diners ruined her traditional meal. She claimed she could not digest food while hearing French. She demanded a locals only section. The host stared at her blankly. He explained that tourism exists. The woman shook her head. She said hunger should be patriotic. She asked for a flag to put on her table. She ate with earplugs in. 28. This lasagna is a snack, not a meal. A large man held up a square of pasta on his fork. He looked at it with deep betrayal. He shouted that at home he eats the whole pan. He complained that a single serving was an insult to his stomach. He demanded 3 more slices for free. He claimed the menu did not specify it was for ants. The waiter explained portion control. The man laughed. He said his stomach had no limits. He tried to stack the side salad on top to make it bigger. He left a review saying the chef was stingy. 29. I found bones in my wings and I am traumatized. A college student dropped a chicken wing in horror. He screamed like he saw a ghost. He pointed at the clean bone on his plate. He shouted that he thought wings were nuggets. He claimed he did not know animals had skeletons. He demanded the kitchen debone 20 wings by hand. The waitress sighed. She explained that bone-in means bones are inside. The student gagged. He said calcium was gross. He asked for a blender to smoothie the chicken. He drank his dinner through a straw. He promised to become a vegetarian. 30. This steakhouse hates vegans, and I am the victim. A woman sat in a leather booth at a prime rib restaurant. She scanned the menu with a magnifying glass. She screamed that there was only one salad option. She demanded a tofu turkey immediately. She shouted that the smell of grilling meat was offensive. She claimed the cows were looking at her from the afterlife. The manager explained their specialty was beef. The woman stood on the table. She threw a bread roll at a waiter. She announced she was saving the planet. She was escorted out. She yelled that vegetables have feelings too. 31. This butter is too soft and salty and I hate it. A picky woman pushed the breadbasket away. She stared at the ramekin of whipped butter. She yelled at the busboy. She complained that butter should be a cold, hard square. She claimed the salt was burning her tongue. She demanded they freeze the butter immediately. The busboy explained it was house-made. The woman gagged. She said homemade meant dirty. She wanted industrial foil-wrapped cubes. She shouted that soft butter was a sign of weakness. She refused to eat the bread until she heard the wrapper crinkle. 32. How dare you run out of bird on the bird holiday? A furious man stood at the carving station at 7 p.m. He stared at the empty metal tray. He screamed at the chef. He complained that turkey should be infinite. He claimed the restaurant should have predicted his hunger. He demanded they go hunt a wild one. The chef explained they sold out hours ago. The man turned red. He said he would eat the decorations. He tried to bite a plastic gourd. He yelled that Thanksgiving was canceled. He cried into a pile of mashed potatoes. 33. Your employee smiled at my misery and he must be fired. A Karen stomped to the manager's office. She pointed a sharp finger at a young waiter. She shouted that he giggled when she dropped her fork. She claimed his joy was a personal attack. She demanded his immediate termination. The manager looked at the terrified boy. The boy said he was just nervous. The woman refused to accept this. She said service staff should be robots without emotions. She slammed her hand on the desk. She promised to haunt the restaurant until he stopped smiling. 34. This brown sludge is too rich and hurts my soul. A grandmother pushed her mug away in disgust. She glared at the barista during the Christmas rush. She complained that the hot chocolate actually tasted like cocoa. She claimed she wanted hot brown water. She shouted that flavor was the devil. She demanded they dilute it with a gallon of milk. The barista stared at her. He explained it was premium Belgian chocolate. The woman hissed. She said Belgium was too far away. She poured water from her bottle into the mug. She drank the watery mess happily. 35. I am trapped in this leather box and I hate it, a claustrophobic man yelled from the back of a booth. He had chosen to sit there 10 minutes ago. He complained that the walls were closing in. He shouted that he wanted a table. The server asked why he did not move. The man said he was already comfortable. He demanded they saw the walls off the booth. He claimed the privacy was insulting. He stood up on the seat. He told the diners nearby to stop looking at him. He ate his meal standing up. 36. My ice cubes are disappearing and it is magic. A confused teenager stared at his soda. He poked the small sliver of ice remaining. He screamed at the bartender. He complained that the laws of thermodynamics were wrong. He claimed the restaurant was too hot on purpose. He demanded indestructible ice. The bartender explained that heat melts water. The teenager rolled his eyes. He said science was boring. He accused the staff of heating the glass with lasers. He drank the soda in one gulp. He got a brain freeze and blamed the air conditioning. 37. Why is there spicy foreign food on my American menu? A xenophobic man threw the laminate menu on the floor. He pointed at the chicken curry option. He screamed that he could smell the spices through the paper. He complained that he only eats beige food. He demanded they erase the ink immediately. The waitress picked up the menu. She explained, variety is good. The man shook his head. He said turmeric was a conspiracy. He ordered chicken fingers. He dipped them in ranch. He stared at the kitchen with suspicion. He felt brave for surviving. 38. How dare you ask about my medical history? A woman clutched her pearls in shock. The waiter had simply asked if she had nut allergies. She was ordering the walnut salad. She screamed that he was invading her privacy. She claimed he was a spy for the insurance company. She demanded to know who sent him. The waiter explained it was a safety protocol. The woman refused to answer. She said her immune system was a secret. She ate the salad cautiously. She waited for a reaction. She was disappointed when she did not swell up. 39. You owe me 3 circles of meat right now. A meticulous man stood up in the pizza parlor. He had a greasy notebook in his hand. He screamed that the slice distribution was uneven. He had peeled every slice of pepperoni off. He stacked them in piles on the table. He complained that one slice had 4 and another had 5. He demanded a mathematically perfect pie. The chef came out with a calculator. He looked at the meat piles. The man said geometry was life. He refused to eat the reorganized pizza. He said the trust was broken. 40. The twinkling lights are stealing my husband. A jealous wife pulled the manager aside. She pointed at her husband staring at the Christmas tree. She screamed that the blinking bulbs were too attractive. She complained that he was not looking at her. She demanded they cut the power to the building. She claimed the electricity was a homewrecker. The manager looked at the husband. The man was just zoning out chewing. The wife insisted the tree was flirting. She tried to cover the tree with her coat. She told the ornaments to back off. 41. Your face is ruining my festive spirit. A wealthy woman snapped her fingers at an exhausted waiter on Christmas Eve. She looked at his tired eyes. She screamed that he looked like a funeral director. She demanded he perform a genuine smile immediately. The waiter tried to lift the corners of his mouth. The woman slammed her hand on the table. She said his joy looked fake. She told the manager to hire clowns instead of servers. She claimed his lack of teeth showing made her wine taste sour. She withheld the tip until he laughed at her. Joke? 42. I cannot believe you allowed other people to park here. A furious driver stormed into the lobby. He held his keys like a weapon. He screamed that the parking lot was full of cars. He complained that popularity was inconvenient for him. He demanded the host go outside and tow every sedan. He claimed he was the main character of the evening. The host explained it was a holiday rush. The man refused to listen. He said he would leave his car in the drive-through lane. He threw his keys at a busboy. He demanded valet service from the cook. 43. You forced this carbohydrate on me without my written consent. A health-obsessed man pointed at the bread basket. He glared at the innocent waiter. He shouted that placing free rolls on the table was an act of aggression. He complained that the smell was tempting him. He demanded the waiter ask for permission before serving gifts. The waiter tried to take it away. The man grabbed a roll quickly. He said the damage was already done. He ate the bread while crying. He threatened to sue for emotional distress and bloating. He ordered butter to cope. 44. You cooked this steak too fast and I am suspicious. A conspiracy theorist timed the kitchen with a stopwatch. He looked at his butterflied filet mignon. He shouted that physics does not work that way. He complained that the meat arrived in 10 minutes. He claimed they used a laser beam to cook it. He demanded they take it back and cook it slower. The chef explained that cutting meat makes it cook faster. The man shook his head. He said speed kills flavor. He wanted the cow to be roasted slowly over a candle. He refused to eat efficient food. 45. My child is a growing giant and needs a full cow. A cheap mother slammed the kids' menu on the table. She pointed at the chicken nuggets. She screamed that 5 nuggets were an insult to her toddler. She demanded an adult portion for the price of $4. She claimed her son identified as a hungry adult. The server explained the pricing model. The woman grabbed the crayons. She drew a 0 on the bill. She said her child would starve because of corporate greed. She stole fries from the next table. She told her kid to eat fast. 46. That evergreen tree is blocking my view of the dishwasher. A strange man stood up and pointed at the Christmas tree. He was seated near the kitchen doors. He shouted that the festive pine was an obstacle. He complained that he could not see the chef sweating. He demanded they chop the tree down immediately. He claimed he paid for dinner and a show. The show was the dish pit. The manager explained the tree was for holiday cheer. The man hissed. He said he preferred the smell of bleach. He moved his chair into the aisle. He watched the garbage cans. 47. Stop trying to get me drunk with your generosity. A light drinker glared at her wine glass. She measured the liquid level with her finger. She screamed at the bartender. She complained that the pour was standard size. She claimed she only wanted a thimble of liquid. She demanded he sip it until it was lower. The bartender refused to drink on the job. The woman poured the expensive Cabernet into a plant. She said she was saving the plant from dehydration. She asked for a refund for the wine she dumped. She said the glass was too heavy. 48. This server is leaking and it is unsanitary. A germaphobe pointed a trembling finger at a waiter. The waiter had been running food for 6 hours. A single bead of sweat was on his forehead. The customer screamed that the restaurant was a sauna. He demanded the staff stop having human bodies. He claimed the sweat evaporated into his soup. He wanted the waiter to be wrapped in plastic. The manager explained that humans sweat when they work. The customer gagged. He asked for a hazmat suit. He ate his dinner wearing latex gloves. He sprayed the bill with sanitizer. 49. Eggs come from chickens and chickens are meat. A confused vegetarian pushed her plate away. She stared at the sunny side-up eggs. She screamed that she ordered a meat-free meal. She demanded to know why they served her a chicken ingredient. The server explained that eggs are not the animal itself. The woman refused to believe biology. She claimed the egg was just a round, boneless chicken. She accused the chef of murder. She demanded a salad without plants because plants are alive too. She ate ice cubes. She said she only eats things that never lived. 50. Your description of the specials was too good to be true. A skeptical man narrowed his eyes at the waitress. She had described the holiday roast with passion. He screamed that she was acting. He complained that no one loves gravy that much. He claimed she was a paid performer from Hollywood. He demanded she describe the food with hate. He wanted her to say it was just okay. The waitress sighed. She said the food was edible garbage. The man smiled. He said he appreciated the honesty. He ordered the roast. He complained it was actually delicious. 51. My heart is beating too fast and it is your fault. A hungover man gripped his mug on New Year's Day. He stared at the black coffee with fear. He screamed at the waitress. He complained that the caffeine was too aggressive. He claimed he wanted half the energy removed. He demanded she'd take the liquid back and filter the buzz out. The waitress explained that brewing does not work in reverse. The man laid his head on the table. He said the coffee was shouting at his brain. He asked for a glass of warm milk. He fell asleep immediately. 52. Move these strangers away from my personal aura. A woman stood up in the packed dining room. She pointed at the table 6 inches away. She screamed that she could hear them chewing. She complained that the holiday party next door was breathing her air. She demanded the manager push the walls of the building out. She claimed she needed a 10-foot radius of silence. The manager looked at the full floor plan. The woman built a wall out of sugar packets. She hissed at anyone who passed by. She ate her dinner inside a fort of napkins. 53. You drowned my plate in vegetable water. A confused lady poked at a fresh garden salad. She shouted at the chef through the pass. She screamed that she ordered it dry. She complained that lettuce leaves naturally contain moisture. She claimed she wanted a bowl of croutons and dust. The chef explained that vegetables grow with water. The woman refused to accept botany. She said she was on a dehydrated diet. She demanded they put the salad in a dryer. She threw a cucumber slice at the wall. She said it made a wet sound. She ate only the crackers. 54. Stop hydrating me against my will. A man covered his water glass with his hand. He glared at the attentive busboy. He screamed that the constant refills were harassment. He complained that seeing a full glass stressed him out. He claimed he wanted to feel the struggle of thirst. He demanded the staff ignore him for an hour. The busboy apologized for doing his job. The man turned his glass upside down. He said he was protesting efficient service. He waited until he was parched. He drank from a flower vase. He felt victorious over the system. 55. This receipt is a robbery note. A stingy father held the bill up to the light. He scanned every line item. He screamed about the holiday surcharge. He complained that Christmas should be free. He claimed the restaurant should pay him for eating there. He demanded they remove the tax and the tip. The manager explained that staff get paid double on holidays. The man laughed. He said his presence was payment enough. He tried to pay with chocolate coins. He ran out to his car. He left a coupon from 1999 on the table. 56. How dare you have families and lives outside of work? A furious woman left a voicemail on the restaurant answering machine. She stood outside the dark building on Christmas Day. She screamed at the locked door. She complained that her hunger was an emergency. She claimed the staff promised to serve her in her dreams. She demanded the owner drive over and cook a turkey. She kicked the door frame. She said she would sue for starvation. She waited in the cold for 3 hours. She ate snow off the sidewalk. She wrote a review about the ambiance. 57. These potatoes require chewing, and I am insulted. An elderly man spat a mouthful of mash onto his plate. He called the server over with a wave. He screamed that he felt a lump of actual potato. He complained that the texture was too rustic. He claimed he wanted white paste like glue. He demanded the chef chew it for him first. The server held back a laugh. The man slammed his spoon down. He He said lumps were a sign of laziness. He asked for a blender at the table. He drank his side dish through a straw. 58. You burned my bread and ruined my life. A young man lifted the top bun of his burger. He saw golden brown toast marks. He screamed like he saw a fire. He pointed at the grill marks with disgust. He complained that crunch hurts his soft gums. He claimed he wanted raw dough only. He demanded a bun straight from the plastic bag. The cook explained that toasting prevents sogginess. The man covered his ears. He said sogginess was flavor. He peeled the toasted skin off the bread. He ate the burger with a knife and fork. 59. The wind is spinning the wrong way for Jesus. A spiritual woman pointed at the ceiling fan. She closed her eyes and hummed. She screamed that the clockwise rotation was bad energy. She complained that it was sucking the holiday spirit up. She demanded they reverse the motor immediately. She claimed counterclockwise pushes joy down. The manager looked at the switch. He explained it was stuck on high. The woman stood on a chair. She tried to blow air the other way. She spun around until she was dizzy. She fell into a waiter. She blamed the vortex. 60. There is sea animal in my sea animal cake. A panicked diner waved his hands in the air. He pointed at a piece of crab shell on his plate. He screamed that he was allergic to shells. He complained that the kitchen should have removed the exoskeleton. He claimed he ordered crab meat, not crab armor. He demanded an EpiPen on a silver platter. The server asked why he ordered crab. The man said he likes the danger. He picked through the cake with tweezers. He made a pile of evidence. He ate the garnish instead. 61. This jazz music is too brassy for my digestion. A music snob covered his ears with napkins. He glared at the speaker system. He screamed that the saxophone was an aggressive instrument. He complained that the reeds were vibrating his soup. He demanded they switch the playlist to flute only. He claimed woodwinds were the only festive sound. The manager explained it was a radio station. The man stood up and started conducting silence. He hummed a flute solo loudly. He drowned out the jazz. He was asked to leave for being louder than the band. And there you have it. 61 absolute proofs that some people should just stay home and eat ice cubes in the dark. If you survived this marathon of entitlement without throwing your phone, you are a hero. Smash that like button if you felt the pain, and hit subscribe to Ridiculous Complaints right now. Turn on notifications because the madness never stops. Now tell me in the comments, what is the dumbest complaint you have ever heard in real life? I want to read the drama. Thanks for watching.